Hello everybody, it's Amy from Winterwood Studio and welcome to my very snowy studio. We have a super fun video today. Today's video is art supplies I will never buy again because I really didn't like them. Don't waste your money. I did one sort of like this at the end of last year, 2024. Everything in this video is new stuff that I don't recommend except for one thing that I disliked so much I had to say it again. Say it again. Excuse my hair. We just got through the snowpocalypse. Our power just went back on yesterday. So if there is, I know for sure I filmed the video for it because I was filming it through the snowpocalypse. If it's up already, I'll link it down below. If it's not up already, it's probably coming next week. So stay tuned for that. Grab yourself something cozy to drink. Come on in and let's talk about the 9 art supplies you should never buy. Okay, so first of all, that was a little dramatic. Mostly because some of these other people like. I'm not saying you maybe you would like them. I don't know. But for me, these are ones I really will not be. I have some still, so I'll be using them up or gifting them away if I really don't like them, and will not be replacing. Okay, so. Let me think. I'm just looking at my list real quick. Some of these aren't, well, we'll get to it. Let's just get started. Let's just jump in. Okay, so the very first one, this is the one that's a repeat from last year. It is the Baohong Artist Watercolor Paper Hot Press. And it's the Academy. The Academy cold press is fine. I have no problem with that. I do studies and stuff on it all the time. I have tried and tried. I made the video last December. I talked about how much I didn't like it. I have like 3 pads of it plus the giant roll. The roll was gifted to me, to be fair. But I bought the pads thinking, well, I would just love it because I loved their cold press as a cheap alternative to like Arches. I do not. The paint just puddles and pools on the paper. I don't know if it's not because one batch was bad, because I bought them spread out over a while, and even with the roll, like from the time I purchased the first item of hot press paper to the time I bought the last one, like there was a year in between. Multiple different batches, they all have the same problem. They do not accept watercolors, even with watery washes of gouache, they really struggle. In fact, if you want to see me struggle with this paper, because I tried to use it over and over and over all summer this summer, trying to force myself to like it. If you want to see me struggle with it, there's a video on my channel called Forbidden Art Supplies. I break all the art rules or something. And I painting on this, trying to force myself to like it. And it was a disaster from start to finish. I'll link it down below if I remember. This is one of the ones where I'm saying don't buy it. Don't waste your money on it. It is not good. It is not good. It is not good paper. Don't do it. Okay, but now, just to prove that I'm not biased, item number 2. Arches hot press paper. Now, I love hot press paper. I don't have a problem well, no, I do, but I do have a problem with this paper specifically. I mean, I don't have a problem with hot press paper. I actually use it more often in my illustrative work than I do cold press. I use it all the time. Almost all my illustrative work is on hot press. Why am I saying don't buy the Arches? Number 1, it's super, super expensive. Number 2, and I don't know how well the camera is going to pick this up. It is very creamy. Let's see if I can pull. Here's just a white piece of printer paper. Okay, that was super hard to get a piece of printer paper. This is, now you can see it. It's a very dark cream, and I find it does not play well with my paints. But the main reason is it doesn't seem super durable. So like, I can't use masking fluid on it. I can't use any tape on it to like tape off the edges. I can't even scrub on it too hard. The top surface just peels off. And again, I bought multiple different pads of it, hoping like maybe it was just a batch and it was just that one batch. No, I don't like it. I will not be buying anymore. I've been using Fabriano Artistico Extra White hot press paper. It's much cheaper, it's nice and white, and man, that surface can take a beating. This is not worth the price that they charge for it. The Arches cold press is my favorite cold press watercolor paper of all time, hands down, the #1 winner. Not sure what happened here. It feels like it's not even made by the same company, but I know it is. So don't recommend this. I'm trying to keep everything. I have notes here. If you see me looking over here, it's my notes. Okay, so I'm going to do these next two right one after another. And these are ones that I don't specifically, it's not because they're terrible. They're just not for me. So the first one that I'm going to say is, and you can see I have a bunch, and like obviously like I've used some of these up. Like you can see that's been through my tube bringer. These are the Liquitex Heavy Body acrylics. And in fact, that painting back there that's not quite done is being painted with these. So why am I saying I won't buy these again? They're not that much cheaper than Golden Heavy Body. And I find quality-wise that they're nowhere near as good as Golden Heavy Body. Golden Heavy Body is my favorite. If I'm going to pay for a professional brand heavy body paint, I'm going to pay for Golden over this because the level of pigmentation in the Golden Heavy Body paint is so much higher. So much higher. You can tell, I could tell right away that the pigmentation in this is not as high as the Golden Heavy Body, and the price is pretty close. I also find that they're not really heavy body. Like they're a cross between like regular, like any sort of acrylic paint and a heavy body. Like they're somewhere in between like regular acrylic paint and heavy body. They're not quite regular and they're not quite heavy body. I don't know if you probably can't tell, but like even just squeezing some out, like it's much more wet and floppy than like a true heavy body paint. So for the price, I'm just going to upgrade a little bit and buy the Golden. It's not because they're terrible paints. It's just, I feel like it's not worth it for me, price point wise and whatnot, if that makes sense. I don't particularly, I love, and this is funny because I've said this before, one of the ones that last year I absolutely hated was the Liquitex Soft Body, but I ended up painting with them all summer on paper and used them up and bought more, and I'm still loving painting on them with paper. They are wonderful for painting on paper. I hate them on canvas still, which is what was the problem last year when I put them in my Art Supplies I Hate video, was that I was trying to paint on canvas with them, and for me, that it just didn't work. So the next thing on my list is also Liquitex, and again, I don't have a problem with the brand. It's just, okay, so here are my Liquitex Basics paints. And you can see that I've got quite a few. It was a big, like, 24 set that was on sale. There are a lot of people that use them. There's a lot of people who really like them. Oh, I'm having a mind blank. Lisa Lochry uses them still as a professional artist. My problem is that they feel very thin and viscous, and they're super, super not pigmented. Super not pigmented. I think they've got some sort of binder in it that I don't like that has a really plasticky feel, like more plasticky than other acrylic paints. And like, I don't like the feel of them. I don't like the feel of them. If you're looking for a more inexpensive beginner acrylic paint, I recommend the Winsor & Newton Galleria paint. They do still kind of feel plasticky, but they have a much heavier load of pigments in them, and a lot less of that kind of chalky binder that I also don't like. So if you're looking for a beginner acrylic paint, that's the one I recommend. I mean, you may try the Liquitex Basics and love them. I know there are people that do love them. They're just not for me. This is one of the ones that's not for me. Okay, so we did the paper and the paints. Okay. Now, to be fair, this may be a repeat from last year. I don't know. Okay, here's this paintbrush, right? This paintbrush was either $35 or $40. It is Color by Felek, And obviously I can't give a good review of the actual paintbrush because it is still in the wrapper, right? Bought this like 2-3 years ago. Still in the wrapper because it's $40 and I'm afraid I'm going to ruin it. I don't know what possessed me to pay that much for one brush. I think I thought it would be like a magic tool and make my painting wonderful and beautiful and perfect. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Still in the wrapper. I will never again spend more than like $15 on a brush. I'm just not going to do it ever again. I do like the, I do like the Blick Master Stroke. I think maybe their bigger size brushes might be on the pricier end, but I haven't bought any of those either. Still in the package. Especially for like acrylic and somewhat for oil, I don't feel like the brushes matter that much. It's not like watercolor where you need a good brush. I don't know what I was thinking. If you're like me and it's going to stay in the packaging and you're not going to use it because you're afraid of screwing it up, don't waste money on a super expensive brush. Don't be me. Don't be me. Okay. All right. So I think that was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're at, that was 5. Okay. So number 6. All right. I really wanted to like this. I really did. This is the Walnut Alkyd medium from M. Graham. This is for oil painting. Okay. All right. This is like 5 years old. You can see it's mostly full. I did one painting with this to test it. And 8 months later, the painting is still sticky. Same paints that I use on all my other oil paintings. The only thing that was different was that I used this. I mean, I went to art school for oil painting. I know, you know, lean over or fact over lean. I know all the rules. I know how to oil paint. I think it was this. Maybe I got a bad bottle. I don't know. I'm not going to buy a new bottle to test it and see. It was not cheap, and my painting 8 months later is still sticky. I will never buy this again. Never. I can't risk it. I'm not going to risk it. Maybe other people out there love it. Maybe I just got a bad bottle. If you're someone who loves the Artist Oil Medium Walnut Alkyd Medium by M. Graham & Co., and you love it and you think it's awesome, and I probably just got a bad bottle, leave me a comment down below and let me know. I hate it. 8 months later, the painting's not dry. I mean, come on. 8 months. It's still sticky, like to the touch. I don't know. All right. So now I know this next one is probably, oh, my hair thing's moving. This one might make people mad, and I'm sorry in advance. These are from my watercolor people. Sennelier watercolors. We'll never buy these again. Never. I got these to try some other brands. I normally use Daniel Smith. I have done tons and tons of watercolor painting. There's tons of watercolor videos on my channel. I like to be able to work both from the tube, but I also like to pour my own pans and let them dry and have pans. I find it convenient. So I do both. The Sennelier watercolor, I poured into pans 2 years ago, still not dry, still sticky and gooey. Cannot pack them up and take them outside to plein air paint with them, which is what I like to do with them. Have to stay upright. Can't tip them upside down or it comes out everywhere and it's gooey and sticky. And in fact, the tubes are sticky and I'm not sure why, but they are. They're sticky to the touch. I will never buy the Sennelier watercolors again. I need to be able to work from pans. And I don't think, I had several different tubes of different colors and they were all like that. So I think I tried 5 tubes. I just got out 2, but I think I tried 5 and all of them are still wet in my pans. And in fact, I was thinking today I should just throw them out because they're still sitting dried. You can't see them, but they're sitting there waiting to dry. And it's been like 2.5 years, a year and a half, at least a year and a half. And they're still sticky and goopy. So I'm never going to buy those again. And then number 8, where we have 2 things left. Okay. So number 8, again, this is something that is personally important to me. I understand it's not important to everybody. When I was first getting back into art, I went to art school, stuff happened, life happened, bad life stuff happened, and I didn't do any art for like 19 years. The first thing that I picked up after like pen and ink was colored pencil. And the first thing that I bought for myself that cost any sort of money, to me anyway, I know some people it's probably not that much, but to me, I bought the entire set of Prismacolor Premier colored pencils. So I pulled the drawers, I don't know if you can see it, I pulled the drawers from that set of drawers back there so you can see it. Okay, so here are some of the Prismacolors, and I want you to pay attention to the colors here, okay? Pay attention to that color range in that drawer. It's important. I'll be back later. Well, not be back. I'll tell you in a minute why. Okay. Now, here is another drawer of the 150 set of Prismacolor colored pencils, and I want you to pay attention to the ends now. I want you to pay. So these are stacked several deep, as you can see. I'm trying to show you without spilling them everywhere, but like 2 or 3 deep. And you can see this whole, almost everything in here has, so you can see, almost everything in here has tape wrapped around the ends, right? Almost everything in this one has tape wrapped around the ends. Half of in here has tape wrapped around the ends. I'm going to tell you why in a second. Okay, now here we have, these are Prismacolors here, Prismacolors here. This is the start of my polychromos, so don't pay attention to those. These are polychromos, but these are Prismacolor, these are Prismacolor. Every one in both of those sections are wrapped in tape. And just to show you what's in a section. Okay. So you can see all of that, right? Okay, so you may be saying, Amy, why are your Prismacolor Premier pencils wrapped in tape? Okay. Those are the pencils whose color in a finished piece of artwork will only last 0 to 2 years. So as you can see, everything that is not wrapped in tape, so this set here, and these ones here, will last just fine for, 25, 50, 100 years. Everything with tape will not. And you can see from the color range that it's browns and tans and earth colors and a few reds and a couple greens, but almost no blues or pinks or purples or yellows or bright colors. Basically, all the good colors are not light fast. And I know to some people that doesn't matter, but I have had experiences where I have made art with substandard supplies, really enjoyed the art, wanted to hang it up, and then have it turn to shades of like gray and brown within like 6 months. I don't buy, unless it's for an illustration that I'm going to scan in and send off to like a publisher or an art editor or an art director. I only use light fast supplies. So acrylics, oils, watercolors. I only use light fast paint. Even in my gouache, I tend to buy the light fast ones and try to stay away somewhat from the non-light fast ones. I feel like I want my art to last. And like I said, I've had the experience of hanging a watercolor up and having it be shades of gray and brown when it had been brightly colored within 6 months. I know that there are UV sprays out there that you can use that slow it down. I know that there are UV glasses you can put in frames to slow it down. I don't want to fuss with that. I'm just going to buy light fast art supplies to start with and, not worry about whether or not my art is, I don't know, I feel like it's an ethic problem too. Like, I feel like I don't want to sell, even if I told the buyer, like, hey, this isn't light fast, it's not going to stay the way it is. Like, I wouldn't want to sell that personally because I feel like it doesn't fit in with my morals and ethics. I'm not judging anybody else who does use non-light fast stuff and sells it. I know that I have a very like cut and dried worldview, and like I tend to be more of a stickler for rules than other people. So I don't judge anybody else, but for me personally, like I would feel guilty doing that, so I don't do it. And now we're on to the very last thing, and this is sort of a money thing again. These are the Etcher sketchbooks. These are the $40 ones, not the $75 ones. I do know that there are $75 ones. I have a hot press here and a cold press here. Okay, my problem with these is this. There are cheaper alternatives that work just as well, if not better, than these. And the price on these makes me not want to use them. Okay, so the cold press, I would, there's all of the Stillman and Burn sketchbooks like are cheaper than this. And they have some really good options. The Strathmore Mixed Media sketchbook, while not cold pressed, is 100% cotton, way cheaper than these, and like for hot pressed, I don't know. Is this the hot pressed one? Yeah, I'm not impressed with the paper. I'm really not. I'm not impressed with the hot pressed paper for these sketchbooks. I think I have a video up. I must have a video up because I remember testing them for the video. If I can find the Etcher sketchbook video where I review these, I'll link it down below. I'm starting to get a ton of content here on my channel, and sometimes it's hard to find stuff. I was not impressed with these. Not impressed, not for the price. I didn't think they were anything special. I will never spend that money on those again. And in fact, I will have to force myself to use them up. And also, like, who makes a white fabric cover? Like, I just got this dirty. I think there was green on my hand from the Sennelier paint that never dries. And this one is dirty too. Like, come on, white fabric for a sketchbook? It's going to end up grubby. I don't know. I mean, you could paint it or decorate it, but then that sort of, defeats the purpose of like having the Etcher. I don't know, whatever. It just seems like an odd choice to me. And those are my 9 art supplies that I will never buy again. I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you haven't hit the like or subscribe button or left a comment yet, I would love it if you did. That's a free, no-cost way for you to help support my channel. And you can always check out my Patreon or my shop, which I will link down below. And until next time, happy creating.